Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel, guys. You've got Bert and Lanny, your favorite DD here on the channel, the Dividend Investors, guys. We're going to get back to talking about dividend stocks because we've been talking headliners, selling stocks, biggest losers, updates on the top five foundation stocks. But now it's time to get into the aggressive mode and talk about three stocks that are sin stocks today.
So we're gonna talk about these sin stocks, but first, subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Lanny, I wish I had more room to reenact that Ultimate Warrior gif of the slamming the top rope because we are so excited to talk about this. There was plenty of room to do that. All right. Anyway, everyone, housekeeping item quickly. You guys delivered for us. You freaking delivered. We said last Sunday, get this video to 400 likes. We'll give some swag, and you guys crushed it. So everyone, first and foremost, thank you so much for supporting that video and supporting our channel over the years. We appreciate it. But now we promise, so we're going to deliver. It's time to announce the winner of the swag contest. So Lanny, I am going to do the drum roll. If you want to announce the winner,
Robert Weaver 6326. Congratulations. You've got yourself some DD swag. We'll comment on your comment on that video to send us an email.
Yep.
Dividenddiplomats@gmail.com, and then give us the details, pick out an item, and we will ship it to you, my man. Thanks for liking. Thanks everybody for watching, liking the video, and commenting. We appreciate that.
We're not going to do a contest on this video because it is Mother's Day, so your focus should be attention on all the mothers out there. So get ready, stay tuned. We're going to launch another one before the end of May, but we're not going to tell you what video is coming. So get ready, get excited. So let's talk sin stocks, Lanny. Let's talk sin stocks. We don't need to cover too much of the market because that was yesterday's video that went out. We talked about the market, the big happening. The S&P just continues to try and find its footing. One of the big sectors that's always talked about, especially in the dividend growth investing sector, is the tobacco sector. And let me tell you something. If you follow our Twitter feed, whenever we bring up a tobacco stock, the emotions come out. Everybody has their favorite tobacco stock they like. So Lanny, this was a fantastic idea today to talk about three of the biggest sin stocks out there.
Yeah, guys, I know each and every one of us probably owns one of these six stocks. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I own Philip Morris, ticker symbols PM. Bert, which one do you own if you own one?
Philip Morris, it's the only one I own. So I don't own the other two. We've avoided it. So but I know there are a lot of dividend investors that own Altria, ticker symbol MO, that are plenty of people are scooping up this stock. This is the one that always brings out the emotions. But lately on Twitter, people have been talking about that third stock we're going to feature today. This has been popping up a lot. Whenever we say, what high yield savings rate do you have? People say, why do that? Do this. Lanny, who's this third stock?
Guys, we're talking about British tobacco, British American tobacco, ticker symbols BTI. I did buy Altria in my mom's portfolio many years ago, probably over a decade ago. And, guys, we got three tobacco stocks here, two stocks that are probably similarly valued that we'll get into here. Let us know in the comments which tobacco stock you own. Let us know because we'd love to see kind of the results from the community here on where you guys are siding, if you do side on buying a dividend tobacco stock.
So what's interesting, let's talk about some of their brands. Remember, Philip Morris and Altria, they worked together. They split apart over a decade ago. Philip Morris kept the international wing, Altria, domestic focus. So Philip Morris's brands are Marlboro, the international wing, Chesterfield, L&M, and I'm going to botch this. Is it ICO? I don't know. IQOS. Someone spell it out phonetically for us. Marlboro, on the other hand, has Altria, on the other hand, has Marlboro domestic, basic, Parliament, L&M, Virginia Slims, Copenhagen, and Skoal. Lastly, BTI from the brand point, they have that the Grizzly Tins, Kool, Lucky Strike, for all you King of the Hill fans out there, Pall Mall, Camel, and Newport.
And you got to give props to Lucky Strike too from the Mad Men era too, Bert. Come on, it's one of your favorite shows.
You're right, Lanny. I think I actually got that wrong. I can't remember. I'm a huge King of the Hill fan. I don't think Lucky Strike was King of the Hill. I was thinking Mad Men just said the wrong thing. So my apologies, everyone. You're right. Don Draper, Lucky Strike. That's what it's all about.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get into it. We're going to look at the metrics, the price to earnings, the dividend payout ratio, and dividend growth. We'll look at dividend yield, stock performance. We'll dive into a little bit of the trend of the revenue as well from these three stocks because You really want to see, are they growing, top line? Are they growing during this possible recession that we are in? How are they doing right now? So we'll touch on that, right now, actually. With Philip Morris, revenue has grown just a little bit, kind of a modest growth, to be honest, over the last 3 years, going from a little over 28 billion in revenue, and they're reaching kind of over that 31, approaching 32 billion in top line revenue. So again, slow growth. So, just something to keep in mind. And, Bert, what does Altria's revenue kind of look like? Because I know they've had a little bit of a sporadic up and down, especially with the Jewel investment.
Flat. It's like the Great Midwest. It's just flat land out there for Altria's revenue, and it's been noisy for sure. Revenue's been between 25 billion and 26 billion, and the story's been why it's flat is because they're trying to figure out how to diversify their product line away from tobacco on there, and that's been the issue with Altria. And what about British Tobacco, Lanny?
Yeah, kind of flat as well. I mean, it seems like the industry is kind of flat as a whole right now. They're in that 33 to 35 billion over the last 3 years. One year they've increased, one year they've kind of took a step back. Just, again, international player as well with BTI. So you got to really keep that in mind. Either which way, they're all generating 25 to 35 billion in revenue each and every year. You could own all three, and you're close to 100 billion of revenue from an industry. So just something that you can always keep in mind. Not
Love
saying
it.
to go do that, obviously.
Yeah, no, love it. So let's see. Now that we've talked about their brands, we talked about their revenue. Let's talk about the metrics and run them through our stock screener. Let's kick it off with Philip Morris, that first company on here. Their price as of May 12th was 95.12. Their forward earnings are 624. It gives you a PE ratio of 15.24. So underneath the S&P 500, so showing signs of undervaluation. Lynn, you want to talk to us about the payout ratio?
Yeah, to compare it to the S&P 500 right now on the PE, we go to multiple.com. That's kind of where we get a lot of our metrics. The current PE on the S&P 500 is about 23, 24x. So a little bit high there for the S&P 500. But yeah, Philip Morris is below. Dividend payout ratio for PM. We're looking at 81%. That's based off $1.27 per share per quarter dividend. Pretty high, way above our 60% threshold that we like to see. This industry is normally high, but what does that mean for dividend growth for Philip Morris?
Yeah, it's probably going to fall exactly where we expect it because their 5-year dividend growth rate is 3.57%. They've increased that dividend for 14 plus years every year since that spinoff. That you hit the trend right on the head. If you're already paying out a high percentage of your earnings, there really isn't that much room to continue growing your dividend at a strong clip. So 3.57%, very low, but we'll see if they pick it up on the yield, which Lanny, why don't you tell us about that dividend yield?
Yeah, the yield's 5.34% right
Okay.
now. So, pretty high. Obviously, much higher than the S&P 500, much higher than SCHD, VYM, VIG, you name it, ETF, higher than probably most, savings accounts right now. So, yeah, high with, lower dividend growth rate, kind of got the good seesaw there.
Yeah, at least they pick it up on the yield if they're gonna lag on the dividend growth side. So to summarize here, Philip Morris, 15.24 PE ratio, 81% payout ratio, 5-year dividend growth rate of 3.57%. They've increased that dividend for 14 years with that yield of 5.34%. And worth noting, they are down year to date. They are down 6%, down 8.92 over the last 52 weeks.
Wow. Wow. So that's Philip Morris, guys. Let's talk about Altria. Mo money, mo problems, but they do give you mo dividends here. Stock price is $45.67, forward EPS $5.04, PE ratio almost half of what Philip Morris is at 9. So, Bert, what does that dividend look like right now on the payout ratio?
376. So that gives you a payout ratio of 74.6%. Still above our 60% threshold, but obviously less than the Philip Morris's 81%. How's their dividend growth looking, Lanny?
Well, they call them the dividend king still. It kind of grandfathered in if you want to count the pre-spinoff. 53 years, growing it at 7.3%. So they've always grown it at a pretty high clip, given that high of a payout ratio. It's a little bit interesting when you think about it.
It is, especially when you talk about that yield, because their dividend yield is 8.23%. So anytime you achieve a stock with an 8% yield, and a 7% dividend growth rate. That's fantastic. And that's probably why investors flock to Altria Group when they're talking about high yielding stocks.
Yeah, year to date, they're flat, down about 13-14% over the last 52 weeks. So Altria there, guys, 9 PE, 75% payout, over 7% growth rate with an over 8% dividend yield.
British Tobacco's like, hey, I'm over here still. I'm
Over
over
here,
here.
over here. Call me, call me.
Yeah, call me. All right, let's run them through. Their price is 33.71. Earnings per share is 4.64. That's a PE ratio of 7.27. So the lowest of the three from the PE ratio front. Let's see the payout ratio. Lady, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, again, they're an international player. Dividends you can estimate it's about 70 cents a share per quarter. So about 280. Yeah, Bert loves my international stock reviews. Payout ratio is about 60%. I would say it's probably between 60 and 70%, just given any sort of translation. So lower, I would comfortably say, than MO and PM.
I love it because I love how much it frustrates you. And it's always funny to see.
Well, especially when you look at the next metric on the dividend growth, because it's a
currency fluctuate, yeah, with currency translation, everything, it's up and down, up and down. So we're just gonna say NA for the dividend growth. It's hard for us to see it, hard to say. So we can't say this is the 5-year average. This is how long they've done it. You see the trend upward, but that's a trend. It's not worth reporting as an actual fact like it was for Philip Morris and Altria.
but now the dividend yield, Bird, similar to Altria, they yield high, and that's why all the dividend investors love BTI stock. That's why the dividend investors love buying BTI stock, because it's yielding 8.31%, so an extra 8 basis points on BTI.
Yeah, and year to date they're down 16%, down 20%. So they are by far the laggard of the group here. Let's summarize their metrics. 7.27 PE, payout ratios are just a hair above 60%, with a yield of 8.31%, and they are down year to date. So, Lanny, what are your thoughts after looking at these three and running them through our screener?
I just don't know. I mean, I own Philip Morris. They're steady. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get above 5% yield. You're going to get a 2 to 4% growth rate. So you kind of like, all right. I think you got a little bit more risk, obviously, with Altria. You're curious, like, okay, are they going to cut the dividend with these bad investments that they're making? So you got a little bit of a concern with where they're going with Altria. You're not. I'm always curious what that dividend is going to look like. Is it going to be a cut, stay the same? But they always still resume that increase, obviously based on cash flows. And just for a frame of reference, the last increase from Philip Morris was sub 2%. So just an FYI. BTI's got a good argument, good brand strength. I mean, they've got a great competing portfolio with the best of them. I mean, with Grizzly, Kool, Lucky Strike, and Newport, Camel. I mean, they've got a good brand portfolio that fares pretty well.
Yeah. So interesting. And I mean, for me, I have a large position in Philip Morris. I'm just going to keep avoiding. I've never really found the time where I wanted to buy Altria or British Tobacco. I'm happy with my allocation for tobacco personally. I'm enjoying buying up other dividend stocks right now and building out my other sectors too outside of the sim sector. But based on metrics, I get why people like all three of them. All three of them have their pros and cons. It's just not for me at this moment.
The tobacco is not for Bert right now, guys. And yeah, I'm going to be in a holding pattern with Philip Morris. Just really, I'll look at MO and BTI maybe over the next 12 months. Maybe there's a swap in mind, but if I really want to juice up that forward dividend income, maybe as I get towards financial freedom, it could be a good swap. I do own over 100 shares of Philip Morris, so it is a beast in my dividend portfolio, which, by the way, is linked down below. So, community, what do you think about the three tobacco stocks? Which one do you like the metrics? Obviously, BTI has the better metrics across the board. Not sure on dividend growth, just with translation, but let us know in the comments which one you like, which one you're buying.
And remember, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there watching our video.
You're either with us or you are against us. That's Bert and Lanny from the DD, over and out.